Hey guys, and welcome to another fragrance review. Thank you so much for watching. Today we're going to be taking a look at a fragrance by Sebastiane, or Sebastiane Perfumes, and the fragrance is called Espresso Royale. So this fragrance was released in 2012. Here's the bottle, and the perfumer for this fragrance is Robert Elder. So with this fragrance, it was actually one of the first ones to be released for the brand. I know he came out with this fragrance and another one called Immortal Meadow, both of which he came out with in 2012. And then a couple of years later, this year, 2014, he came out with three more. He came out with one called Wish Upon a Star, one called Urban Legend, and one called Black Magic. So he decided to expand the line. I actually got a chance to speak to him recently on Facebook through a message, and I asked him when we might expect to see another fragrance from him, and he said that he is working on one right now containing the note of agarwood. He actually has a lot of ideas lined up, but he wanted his brand to get a little bit more exposure before he released another fragrance, and that's totally understandable. Hopefully my review does some good for him. So really nice fragrance actually. And I also want to mention that I got this one for free. I also got the one behind me for free. He was hosting a contest on one of the Facebook groups, Fragrance Guru Nation. I think I heard about it through my Facebook group, and I took a guess. He posed a question and I answered the question correctly, so I won both of these fragrances. So I did want to disclose that information just in case there was any suspicion over me giving a bias or a partial review. But yeah, just kind of wanted to put that out there. So with this fragrance, of course, with a name like Espresso Royale, that's exactly what you expect from it, to smell like espresso or coffee. And if you remember in my Montal Intense Cafe review, I mentioned how I have been on the hunt for a coffee-based fragrance for a very long time now, and that was the end of the road for me, Montal's Intense Cafe. And after smelling this fragrance, it really has me second-guessing myself, because the coffee note in both fragrances is very authentic, but they're done very differently. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I tackle the smell. But next up, let's take a look at the presentation for Espresso Royale by Sebastiane. Espresso Royale is available in one size, and that's a 2-ounce bottle. This fragrance is only available in eau de parfum concentration. Although I am convinced it might be a little bit stronger than eau de parfum, because when I spray it on skin, it leaves my skin very oily for a long time. So I just kind of want to put that out there. That's my caution. So first up, let's take a look at the box. This is actually pretty cool, because for an indie house, I wasn't expecting for there to be a box. Also want to mention that this is the second design that the fragrance has undergone. If you have a bottle that looks a little bit different to this one, don't be concerned that you have a fake or anything. It's just this is the second bottle design that he's had. And for an indie fragrance, I really wasn't expecting a box. I've gotten indie fragrances in plastic bags. I've gotten indie fragrances in pouches. Sometimes I've gotten indie fragrances with no packaging at all. So for there to actually be a box, that's kind of cool. Sebastiane, I do think that all of his fragrances have a different color assigned to them. Espresso Royale is green. Parfums, the size, the Sebastiane S from the logo, a series of S's, more information down here at the bottom, blended by Robert Elder out of Altoona, Pennsylvania. Nothing at the top, no UPC code, no serial number. This is made in small batches, but yeah, there is no serial number, just in case you were curious. Well, another thing that I like is he went the extra mile. Inside the box, you will see that it comes in this pouch with the strings up here at the top. Really nice touch. For an indie house, he really didn't have to go that far, but he went the extra mile. And then additionally, on the inside, he includes this card with the Sebastiane logo, a Robert Elder fragrance collection. Then you open it up, and on the inside, it has some information on the Sebastiane house. So if you're interested in reading that, feel free to pause the video now. But it's pretty cool. He didn't have to do that. He went the extra mile, and I really do appreciate that. As far as the bottle goes, it's a pretty standard bottle. They all look the same. This is the second design. On the front here, you have a sticker with the logo, the name of the fragrance, kind of reminiscent of the Nasamato bottles in the sense that it starts in the front and makes its way over to the back. And what I like about this one is that it lists all of the notes on the back, so there's no guessing. It's very straightforward, very honest and transparent. It does have a cap. It comes off. The atomizer works very well. Really nice distribution, and I feel like it sprays out enough relative to the concentration of the fragrance. Like I said, it does come across very oily. So guys, thank you for watching. That has been the presentation of Espresso Royale by Sebastiane. What I get from the smell of this fragrance, of of course, is espresso. Like the name implies, when you spray it on, that's what you're going to smell. A really strong coffee slash espresso note. There's really no way for me to determine which one it actually is. It says coffee on the back, but the name is espresso. But it does smell like freshly ground coffee. It's like when you spray this on, there's bound to be someone in the room who says, who just brewed coffee? Or like, it really smells very rich and very natural. And that's what I like about this fragrance, because if you wear other like designer coffee-based fragrances like Armani Attitude, say for example, you're not going to go out in public and people will, people aren't going to come up to you when you're out in public and say, wow, you smell like coffee. This one they will, because it really does have a really strong, rich, authentic, robust coffee note to it, and that's definitely what I like the most about it. Now the thing is, and I would like to make a contrast between this fragrance and Intense Cafe. With Intense Cafe, the coffee note does smell different, but it's also everything else that's going on in the background that smells different too. I feel like Intense Cafe, yes, it's sweet and all because of the amber, but because the resins are sweet, just not necessarily because the resins are sweet, because you have the benzoin and the labdanum, it doesn't necessarily make it edible or gourmand. This one is a gourmand in every sense of the word, because after the coffee dies away, which unfortunately I hate to say it happens like a minute or two later, no exaggeration, but sometimes you can't help the volatility of certain notes, what you're left with in the dry down is a very heavenly, sweet, decadent, gourmand smell. What it reminds me of is when I was in high school, and I used to go to school with like 50 cents in my pocket, and I could only buy two things, and I would usually buy either one of those juices that were shaped like a grenade, and then I would buy either a bag of honey barbecue chips, cosmic brownie, or I would buy these small 25-cent coffee cakes. And that's what this reminds me of. It reminds me of a coffee cake. And if you look at the ingredients on the back, that's another thing that's pretty cool about it. All the ingredients are listed on the back of the bottle. It contains, the top we have rum, in the heart we have coffee, hazelnut, and caramel, and then in the base we have perfumer's alcohol and tonka bean. Of course, tonka bean contains a chemical compound known as coumarin, which gives it a very sweet and nutty smell with a vanillic overtone, and it really makes it smell like a coffee cake or a rum cake or quite even a tiramisu. It has a very dessert-like feel to it, and I think that that's what really makes this fragrance stand out. You can use coffee in fragrances, but it's not until you pair it up with all these other notes, and I know it doesn't contain like vanilla, so it's not gourmand in that sense, but it does have a very edible smell to it, more edible than sweet, if that even makes sense. But it does certainly smell like a dessert, and that's what I like the most about this fragrance. Very unique, really stands out. And in terms of compliments or complaints, I've gotten compliments with this fragrance. I had my girlfriend smell it, and she liked it right away. She was like, "What are you wearing?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a new fragrance, just got it." And then she smelled it, she goes, "It makes me feel like having dessert." And it really does have that kind of an effect on it. As far as the rum note that it contains, it doesn't smell overly boozy, and I think that's because I'm comparing it with fragrances like Ambre Rouge by Parfum d'Empire, Straight to Heaven by Kilian, or Idole de Lubin, and I guess you could say I'm conditioned to, perceive rum in a different way. In this fragrance, I don't want to say it has a metallic smell, because I don't, metallic usually connotes like a bad smell, like Secretions Magnifique or something like that. But with this fragrance, it does have, to me at least, somewhat of like a sharp smell. It does have like a sharp, bright smell to it, almost a little astringent too. And I'm guessing that that's what the rum note is doing in this fragrance. Overall, it's just a great smell. Having coffee, it reminds me of having coffee with friends, and then you have a dessert in front of you, and you're just having a good time, you're relaxing, you're enjoying life. And this is a very cozy, very comforting smell. I would highly recommend you try it out. So guys, thank you for watching. That was the smell. Last up we have the rating. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching. First up we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I gave this fragrance a 9 out of 10. I think that the overall smell of this one is very, very unique. It's a great smell. It's a beautiful interpretation of coffee. I've never smelled coffee done this way before, and it contrasts so much from the other coffee-based fragrances that I have tried and are in my collection. My only qualm with this one and why it did not get a perfect score is because the coffee note does not last nearly as long as I would want it to, but other than that, I do like the dry down a lot, so I can kind of look past that. So a 9 out of 10 I think is a good score, and fixatives were used successfully as per the reason why this fragrance lasts as long as it does. So next up we have longevity. I give this one an 8 out of 10. This is an eau de parfum concentration, so 6 to 8 hours are expected. I did get 8 hours out of this fragrance on normal wearings, and if you spray this on clothes, it will last there for a very, very long time. This does last for a very long time. Keep that in mind. So I ended up giving it an 8 out of 10 for longevity. Next up, we have projection. Also gave it an 8 out of 10. Projection is very good. It projects and really jumps off the skin. I would say a little bit beyond an arm's length for about 3 hours, and then it starts to sit a little bit closer to the skin. What I really like about this fragrance is that it doesn't turn into a skin scent, or at least not up until like the 7th or 8th hour. It really projects for a long time, and it will really get you noticed. So just be aware of that when you're wearing this fragrance in public. People will notice that you're wearing it, so I would recommend wearing 2 to 3 sprays. Unless you're wearing it in the winter, you could probably afford to wear an extra spray or 2. And then next up we have versatility. I give it a 6 out of 10. I give it a 6 out of 10 because I feel like even though it is a unisex fragrance and anybody can wear this one, in terms of the age range, I don't see like a very, very young, person wearing this, and I don't see an older gentleman wearing this fragrance. I think this is good between the ages of like 25 and 40, maybe even 25 and 45, in that range. But other than that, I think only, not too many people can appreciate this fragrance because of its dessert-like qualities. They would want something that smells a little bit more fresh, maybe something aquatic or citrusy, and you're not getting that with this fragrance. Also, I feel like this one would work best in the colder months. Winter, perfect. Fall, perfect. I feel like because of the performance, it might be overkill in the summer, although you can get away with wearing 1 or 2 sprays, and I think that this is a very playful scent. This is a very like night out scent. When you want to wear it to an intimate setting, I think that this would do really, really well for that. If you really, and it kind of has like this thing about it that really lures people into you. I found that out when I was wearing it in public. My girlfriend was getting closer to me on the couch. She's like, "What are you wearing?" So it really does have like that gravitational pull qualities to it. But I can't really see this one being worn in a suit and tie, and maybe casually, if you want to go grocery shopping while smelling like tiramisu. I don't know. So I would just say playful. So 6 out of 10 for versatility, but still great scent nonetheless. And then last up we have the presentation. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Considering that this is an indie fragrance, I have gotten indie fragrances before that came in felt pouches. I've gotten indie fragrances that came in plastic bags. I've gotten indie fragrances that just came just like that, nothing, no cap. This one has a cap, it has a pouch, it has a box, it has a little card. The atomizer works very well. Great presentation, considering that it is from an indie house, and the affordability included in that too. So overall, I'm going to give this fragrance a 9 out of 10. It's a great fragrance. I highly recommend you check it out. If you're a fan of coffee, you absolutely have to check out this fragrance. Great representation of coffee, and it's done so differently from other fragrances that I've tried, and that really increases the uniqueness by a lot. So guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my review of Espresso Royale by Sebastiane. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to shoot me a message. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Radolescence. See you soon.